Alright, hey guys. So today I'm going to do a quick review of the inland M1 30 carbine that I picked up. It's basically a US military service rifle that's been sporterized and turned into a civilian version. So it's a 30 carbine. Takes this funny looking round right here. Pretty cool. See the back of it? It's, once it views in, there you go. So 30 carbine. It's got a 5-round sport mag. Comes right here. And to load it, very simple. Just to slap them on. They just slap on top like so. So that goes in. So that's a loaded mag. And of course you would just slap her in like so, pull this charging handle back, let it go, and she's loaded, ready to shoot. Put the safety on. There's a little tag right here. That's not safe. That's safe. So when you're down, you can't pull the trigger at all. It doesn't move. When you're up, you can pull the trigger. Now it just go click because I actually didn't put one in the chamber. Right now it's what you call coach carry. It's one in mag's full. All you have to do is charge the handle and you're ready to shoot. So to unload, you would push that button, take the magazine out, and if you had one in the chamber, pull the charging handle back, inspect your breech, let her forward, and now you've got a tensioned hammer but no round in the chamber. You could dry fire it at this point, but you can dry fire a rim fire. A lot of people go, oh, you can't dry fire a gun. That's not true. You shouldn't dry fire rim fire, but center fire, you can dry fire that. In fact, there's a lot of safety, what do you call it? When you're trying to do the safety inspection, there is a procedure that actually you do dry fire. So, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about if you say you can't dry fire a gun. But if you don't want to and you want to save the longevity of your gun or whatever, sure. You pull this back till the breech is just open. If you pull it back too far, you're over your hammer and you won't discharge it. So you just pull this back until it's, somewhat open, and then you pull your trigger. Goes click, you've detensioned it, and you just let her set. So that's that. That's really all it is. Now what makes this gun apparently non-restricted as to being restricted originally is this muzzle brake right here. They just lengthened it by just an inch basically, and that somehow makes it non-restricted. Go figure. But anyway, I'm not going to argue that. I actually quite like the muzzle brake on it. I think it makes it even look cooler, so I got no problem with it. When I bought the gun, it had a real nasty chip. This whole back piece right here was completely missing. So you can see, I'll try and get it into a viewpoint for you guys. So you can see right there that I did a decent job. It's just wood filler that I smeared in there to fit it. I put tape around all the metal edges and I let it dry. The wood filler didn't work. It didn't stick to the wood at all. So I took JP Weld, the 2-part mix, and I put some of that on there and then glued her to the wood. That did work. And then I sanded it down till it was flush, the best of my abilities because I'm not a woodworker at all. And I ended up getting it pretty smooth and flush. There's a few little divots I can see in there, but I'm not worried about it. And then it was white, or a pretty light color. I could have left it, but I didn't want that. I wanted it to blend in somewhat. So I took some brown paint and painted it brown and sort of put some brown paint into the stock itself and wet it down and washed some of it away to blend it. And it did okay. At the quick glance, you can't even tell. So I like it. When you really look at it, you can start to kind of make it out. But as far as finishing the gun off, it looks so much better. I didn't like looking at all this exposed metal sitting from the back. It was just hideous, and you could see all the jagged wood. It was really crappy, actually. So now I'm very happy with it. And then just to finish it off, I gave the whole stock a real good sanding, like a really good sanding. And then I used a clear lacquer from Butone and did a couple coats of that. And I'm very happy with it. This is sort of a beater gun as it was, but now it's pretty lustry. I don't know if I'd call it a beater gun. It's just, but still, I'd still take it out and go do stuff with it. The reason I bought it was just because it was sort of unique. I liked it, and I had some money to burn for it. So yeah. So anyways, the rounds are probably looking at $39 for a box of 50. I got these a lot cheaper because they're old rounds. This box here was $18.95 back in the day, and that box there is $25.99, and now they're about $39.99, the guy told me when I bought it. I was making sure that they still had ammo for it, that if I'm going to buy a gun that I'm going to be able to feed it. I don't want to have a gun that I can't feed. It's just no point. So, I mean, I am a collector, but I'm not that kind of a collector. I like to play with my collection. I don't like to just have a ornament. So, yeah. Okay, so the history of this gun, we'll go into that. This is coming from the Jane's Gun Recognition Guide, so I'm just copying what they said here. It's one of the most appealing weapons. Light, handy, easy to shoot, and totally useless at ranges over 200 yards. Since it fired a pistol bullet, it was intended simply to replace the pistol with something having more range, but it found itself being used as a light rifle more often than not. Over 6 million were made in various forms. The M1 was the original semi-automatic. The M1A1 had a folding steel butt for use by paratroopers. The M2 added automatic fire, and the M3 was an M2 with special fittings for mounting optics. They say infrared sights. I think they're trying to sound cool. It's basically optics. After the war, several companies began making them for the commercial market, and still do. Now, I'm willing to challenge that I can probably get this to shoot accurately still at 200 meters or possibly a little bit more. The reason I say that is I'm shooting 44 mag, and I can hit my metal plates no problem at that distance with a mare's leg, so way shorter barrel and all that, so, and a heavier round. So I'm willing to bet that this will still go 200 meters, but this weekend we will find out. The sights on it, it's basically got a Williams rear sight in the front one. Not really sure what it is, but just your basic V sights. Not sure if you can see it all that well, but just your, yeah, just front blade and a rear V sight. The weight, you're looking at about 3.5 pounds because it's sporterized. The original weight of them were about 5 pounds. It's with a wood top and larger magazine and some other gizmos, some extra metal on it. The cartridge is, of course, 7.62 by 3.3 or .30 carbine. They have other dimensions here, but we're not going to go into that because this is the sporterized version. It's not actually the version that they have in this book. My opinion, I think it's very similar to the Ruger's Mini 30 and the Mini 14. Sort of similar to that, and also the M14. In a way, it's built very similarly to the M14. In a way, it's quite different as well, but they've got the twist bolt. Both, I believe the Rugers also have that for the Mini 14 and Mini 30. But I quite like that, because what it does is your extractor sits sideways, pulls the round out, and then flicks, basically, the empty casing out, and helps snap it away a little faster. So that's kind of a cool little design. I like the operation rod being inside a lot better than sitting flush to the outside like the M14 does. When I'm shooting, especially as a smaller frame shooter, I want to have my front hand there. That metal thing was interfering with my fingers. This one, it won't, because my hand's right there and it's on wood. So I think this will be a little bit better. Of course, it's a smaller round. It's going to have a little bit less kick. But that'll, of course, increase accuracy. So I think it's going to be a pretty sweet little gun. They sell it as a truck gun. They call it a truck gun. I don't think that's because it's like what you call a coach gun. More like truck gun as in it was short. It could sit upright in a truck and not be interfered. Also, it could be fired from a truck too. But of course, in Canada, we have the laws of no loaded firearms in the vehicle unless you're in serious bear country, basically. And I don't think you're allowed to discharge firearms from a vehicle either unless you are handicapped and have handicap permits, and that's for hunting and stuff like that. So I guess that would allow them to shoot on the road too or something, but I don't know. I'm not handicapped, so it doesn't apply to me. Well, I'm handicapped, sure, but not in a wheelchair sense. So there you go. That's really all I can say about this one. Really like the way it looks now. Pretty happy. It's a nice light gun. Gonna have fun shooting it this weekend. The 5-round sport mag's pretty cool. I like how when it goes in, it sits flush to the trigger guard. Right there. The larger magazines hang down, but they're all plugged to 5 anyway. Because legal limit in Canada for semi-automatic rimfire is unlimited, but for center fire, it's 5. So there you go. That's really all I've got to say about it. I intend to maybe at some point put a sling on it and put some sling mounts. So I can put a sling on it. Okay, so cleaning this, it's very straightforward. If you're doing a takedown and cleaning, you just basically take this one screw out. It's right there at the base of the trigger group and magazine catch. That comes out, and you grab your gun and pull her forward that way, and it comes out. It's the only tool you'll need is a flathead. The rest of it, the gun comes apart with no tools. It's just that one screw for the tool that you will need. Then you clean it just like you would an M14 basically. There is no piston in there like the M14 has. That's one way it's different, but generally speaking it's pretty similar. So if you've done the M14, you can definitely clean this. This is a little easier than the M14 actually. The trickiest thing is a bolt, getting that bolt in and out, and this guard drops out sort of through a little slot thing. So that's also tricky. If I'm going to do a takedown video, it's going to be a completely different video. I'm not going to add it into this one, it'll be too long. Just because if I'm going to do a takedown video, I might as well do a cleaning video. So maybe after this weekend, after I shoot this puppy, that's what I'll end up making. I think I went over on the restoration I did, so that basically sums it up. We'll find out how it shoots this weekend, but as far as that, I'm very happy with this. For $400, I think it's a pretty sweet gun. It's got an all-wood stock, which is hard to get for $400 these days. So, mind you, it was chipped to shit, so of course I had to go ahead and become a woodworker all of a sudden. But it's alright. I'm very happy with it so far. As long as it shoots, I'll definitely not be disappointed. So there you go. Yeah, anything to add, any questions, please do so. I'd be happy to hear any recommendations you guys have. Yeah, thanks for watching.